had a dream I was eating a steak, right? And my mother woke me. She said, "What's wrong with you? What you dreaming about?" I said, "I was dreaming I was eating a steak." And she smacked me. Pow! I said, "Why you smack me?" She said, "Because you selfish. You should have woke your brother up and shared that dream with him."
You have the chance to see one of the biggest stars in comedy live, Donnell Rawlings, performing at Tacoma's Super Funny Comedy Club, June 23rd through the 25th, and he joins us live to talk about what to expect. Joining us live now, Donnell Rawlings, good morning to you.
Good morning to you. I just got to start by saying you look like a superhero. Like, you look like Clark Kent.
Hey.
You got the structure. You got a healthy structure and a superhero physique that you can get into a phone booth and you'll come back out as Superman. I just wanted to give you your props. You look good, man.
You know what? If I could just find the phone booth. I mean, they're really hard to find these days. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, and then if you go, it's probably be some questionable substances in those phone booths. So
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. All right, so you're coming to Tacoma. Can't wait to check you out. And you know, this world that we live in is just so absurd right now for a comic mind. I mean, what do you plan to chat about?
I plan on chatting on current events, topical stuff that's relatable to my life. I don't subscribe to cancel culture. Not that I say that I think that, you know, in some cases, we need a little bit of policing on what people say. But at the same time, you got to understand comedy is like one of the purest art forms where you go to hear somebody speak on what they see. It doesn't have to be parallel to your thoughts, but what they see and how they see the world. A good friend of mine, Dave Chappelle, who has come under a lot of controversy because of some of the things that he say or represent, if you want to say, he told me some time ago, he said, "Donnell, as comedians, it's our job to make fun of the things that are troubling the world." And that's what comedians do. If you're an overly critical person, and I will say this, there's been a big argument, freedom of speech. Yes, freedom of speech is one thing, but you have to have freedom of some responsibility too. You got to realize you can say whatever you want to say, but there will be some consequences to it. And that's why when you come to my show, I'm not reckless, but I'm an honest person. This is how I look at the life, and this is how I want you to see me. And if anybody's been following my career, which expanded over 30 years. And I really know I'm old because I think one of your producers was like, "Oh my God, we love you." I was like this, "Please, I know you're probably 30 years old. You probably used to sneak and watch Chappelle's show." You know, but it's a good thing. I'm in a good place in my career with the fans that I've developed, created or brought to me for like the last 30 years. And I'm super excited to come out there. Nate has done a good job of making this one of the best comedy clubs in the country. And the last time I was there, if I'm not mistaken, I was there at Tacoma Dome, whatever that big facility was. I was there with Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle. And when I tell you, it was an electric scene for 27,000 people. Here's what, in comedy, what's the most powerful sound you can hear is silence. If you could take a arena and 27,000 people at any given second are 100% quiet, where you can hear a pin drop, that's control.
Yeah, you've done something.
Yeah, it's a good thing. And as much as I like the arena situation, I think the best place to see comedy is in a comedy club or a small theater.
Amen.
It's more intimate. You know, the stadium situation, that's like feeds your ego. Oh my God, I rock 25,000 people. But it's nothing like being in front of 200 or 300 people. You can see their faces, you can feel their energy. You could almost like it's a different type of electricity, and it's at a frequency that I love to do.
So Donnell, a lot of us, as you mentioned, we know you from Chappelle's show, and you're actually teaming back up with Dave Chappelle for a Netflix special. That's got to be really cool. And you know, you mentioned our 30-year-old producer who knew you from Chappelle's show, but not only did she know you from the show, she took a class on Chappelle's show, a media ethics class where they focused specifically on Chappelle's show. I mean, it had that kind of an impact.
It's one of those things like, you know, people, I've done a lot in my career, and the question I always get like, "Oh, he hasn't done anything from Chappelle's show." Since I have done stuff, it just so happened that I had the opportunity to be a part of a show that's going to go down in the history of one of the best sketch comedy shows in the history of television. Entertainment Weekly did a article some years ago, and they named the top 100 shows in history of television. HBO's The Wire was one of those shows, and Chappelle's show was another one of those shows.
Two of your shows.
2 of my shows. But I will say, for your producer who said that, I really understand the impact of that show when 20 years later, it still has an impact on pop culture. It still has an impact on comedy, the history of comedy and television and comedy. And I would love, your producer, I would love to have a conversation with her just to fill in some of the blanks of the class that she took.
Victoria, did you hear this? Victoria, are you picking up on this? Okay, you have a coffee date with Victoria when you come into town. That's already happening.
And I'm telling you, I got some insight that she would be privy to and feel special to hear about.
That is fantastic. I can't wait to have you in town. Donnell Rawlings Show. And by the way, you have the Donnell Rawlings Show on a podcast right now, and it's blowing up. But we have run out of time, my man. Comedian Donnell Rawlings, thank you.
If we ran out of town, this is for the real people that love Chappelle Show. I have to end by saying this. I'm rich. I won't say the end of it. I'll let Victoria fill in the blanks. All right?
That's right, son. Watch him perform live. That is Tacoma Super Funny Comedy Club, the 23rd through the 25th. Great chatting with you.
Thank you, Superman.
All right. Thank you.